the impact of that hit, as well as my momentum from trying to steer away, caused the car to spin. Now, when I tell you it was the loudest noise I've ever heard in my life, that would be an understatement. I mean, it was so loud, and I just remember seeing white. Hey, it's Chris. It's day 3 of my 61-day challenge where I'm posting a video to the internet every day for 61 days. As you can see, we woke up a little early today. We're on the East Coast, so I wanted to get out and try and get the sunset. Today, I think what I'm going to do is I've been thinking about how to make this a cohesive transition for the channel because it's already sporadic enough. You know, I'm doing travel travel videos. I'm doing care, kind of documenting the care of my elderly mom. I'm talking about the concussion and the accident. So I'm gonna try and when I have a travel video or view of the hotel, I'll put that in there, and it's just gonna be kind of scattered. I think the first 2 hotel reviews I'm going to do are going to be the ones in Daytona and Ormond Beach, just so we have some type of cohesive timeline. The rest of them, we'll just kind of we'll go and just kind of go with whatever. If I need space, if I need, I'll make some ahead of time because I know how hard people say it is to post to YouTube. I'm not having a hard time coming up with ideas or coming up with video. So far, now it's only day 3, but I have been posting to YouTube and other channels for a while, so that probably helps me a little bit. And again, I'm trying to provide quality with all the videos and some form of value. So, what I'm going to talk about today is after the accident. So, I created my first video was just kind of documenting what happened in the accident. You know, I got hit with by a drunk driver going 60 miles an hour. It was a fatality accident. I was wearing my seatbelt. But so for video number 3, I'm going to just kind of chronologically go through what happened at the accident, um, and what happened after the accident that next day or two, because that was, kind of important. Um, when you get in a car accident, especially in Florida, there's a couple things you need to remember or know. And one thing I didn't know is that, the ambulance driver asked me what hospital I wanted to go to. And I'm like, well, the closest one. I'm bleeding. I got blood on my fingers, all messed up. It's got glass in it, and my head. I had an abrasion on my head from when it went through the driver's side door window. So let me just take you back to what happened. So I was driving for Uber um, because I had my own company called American Bamboo, where we basically were planning on selling bamboo shoots to throughout the United States. We thought there might be a market for that, and then COVID hit, and all the labor for that would cut the bamboo shoots, plant the bamboo, take care of it, and a lot of the labor that would take care of the bamboo kind of dried up because in Florida, we didn't go like nuts with the COVID thing, but a lot of the United States did. I mean, there were lockdowns and you couldn't be out, couldn't be at the beach. It was insane. Um, Luckily, I was in Florida. That would have drove me crazy. I hate being confined, but because of that, my company was not doing well. I hadn't. I started my own company back in 2019 and had some cash reserved, but it was getting a little tight. I was starting to rely on savings, and I didn't want to have to do that. It was October, and I'm kind of a planner to where I wanted to be able to buy Christmas presents and stuff. So I decided to take some gig jobs with Uber and Lyft. So that night, it was a busy night. It was a Friday, October 17th, and it was late. You know, Between 12 and 2, I you get a lot of drunk people with Uber, and sometimes they're nice, sometimes they're just weird, and sometimes they're great and funny. So it was going to be my last ride of the night because it was 2:30. It was about 2 o'clock. I was ready to go home. I was already in a city called Brandon, and which is about an hour away from my house, 45 minutes with no traffic. So that was going to be my last fare. So I picked this guy up, and I'm talking to him. We're going down the highway at a little place called Sefner, and all of a sudden I hear him say, "What the fuck?" I look, kind of notice what's going on, and I realize there are headlights coming at me on this 2-lane highway. I look down. I'm going 60 miles an hour. All this stuff happened like so quickly, and so apparently, according to the computer on the car, I turned right just before impact, like 0.1 seconds before. And I don't know if that's why I'm here or not. Lexus, I had a RX 350 that thing has like 18 airbags, and all of them went off. But anyway, so I got hit head on. But as I got hit head on, my car was turning because I was trying to veer to the right to avoid this idiot that was coming at me. And that the impact of that hit, as well as my momentum from trying to steer away, caused the car to spin. Now, when I tell you it was the loudest noise I've ever heard in my life, that would be an understatement. I mean, it was so loud. And I just remember seeing white, and I know what that was. That was the airbags coming at me. Now, I've had airbags deployed before, so I knew what had happened. There's smoke afterwards. But what I don't remember is spinning, 2 or 3 360s and then hitting a telephone pole. When I hit a telephone pole, my head went through my driver's side door. The passenger wound up hitting my windshield. My back, he wasn't wearing a seatbelt. And, which I always was like, why are people wearing the seatbelt in the back seat? I guess it's kind of important. But so the passenger wound up in the front seat, basically. The front seat, when everything came to a halt, was touching, and it was a good 2 feet from the dashboard, but it was touching, it was crammed up in the dashboard. So that kind of, not that you need to understand the force that a 260-mile-an-hour hits make, because you can't. It's immense. So during the accident, my head went back and forth because of the initial impact of the head-on collision. And then because we spun, my head went left and right, so sideways. So this is important later on in the story because it really messed up my brain. I didn't know it at the time, but so we come to a halt. There's smoke everywhere. The truck that hit me is on its side. It's on fire. And my Uber passenger says, "Are you okay?" And before I could say yes, he bolted out the passenger side door. And so I realized that when you drive for Uber, it's every man for themselves. But I don't blame him. He thought the car was on fire. At least he did ask if I was okay. I guess if I would have said no, he would have sent for help or got help when he was outside the car. So nonetheless, so I'm sitting there kind of assessing my injuries because, I'm like, oh, wow, we've been in a pretty bad car accident. My head hurts. My left side of my body hurts. I look down, I'm bleeding. I look, my phone says emergency, emergency. So they're calling Uber, and the police are being called automatically because of the impact that the phone had. Because it was on like my, oh, it was in a phone holder, but it wasn't anymore. So I assess, I'm moving all my limbs, and can I move my legs? I'm wondering if they're going to have to cut me out of the car. My door won't open. I'm like, oh God, my head hurts. And kind of look in the mirror and see that look at my hands. I see there's blood all over them. I'm like, all right. Trying to feel where I'm bloody. I know my chest hurts from where the seatbelt was. I got a really bad rug burn, for lack of a better thing, from that. So kind of get myself together. I can't make it to the passenger door. So what I do next is I I crawl to the back seat and get out the way my passenger got in. So I get out of the car. I'm like, well, I don't know if I'm coming back to the car. So I'm like, I better take my shit. So I grab my billfold and for whatever reason, a Diet Pepsi because I was thirsty. But I also had to pee really, really bad. And people were coming up to me, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And I just, everybody's running around trying to get fire extinguishers, trying to get this other guy out of the car. He's gone. He wasn't wearing a seatbelt, and they can't get him out of the car. So, and I'm thinking, I better get out of my car because what if this truck blows up? Now, my car, it automatically shut off, but um, there was still smoke, gunpowder everywhere in my mouth. I remember licking my teeth and having that gunpowder be there. That was a trip. So I got out of the car, and somebody comes over and goes, "You need to go sit down. You don't look too great." And so I'm like, well, all right. At this point, I'm thinking of trying to talk, but I can't. It's like I'm in slow motion. Everything I'm doing feels like it's taking 5 minutes. It's really bizarre. I understand now that's because my brain had just been through this traumatic event. So I go sit down, lay on a picnic table. There's a picnic table. We're at some outdoor restaurant. I go sit down and lay it on a picnic table. So I get on this picnic table and I just lay down and close my eyes for a second because I'm trying to process what is going on. And I don't realize, but as I did that, suddenly I'm back at with all my friends from Indiana. We do a golf trip every year, and up until the accident, I hadn't missed one. Um, where we played 5 rounds golf in like 3 days, sometimes six. It's grueling if you're not a golfer. And I try, but I'm not great. So I'm suddenly back there, and I'm talking to my friends, and we're having a good time. And then I say something like, "I'm like, guys, I'm getting really tired." And my best friend, one of my best friends from childhood, Kurt, is like, "Tired? You better wake up because you got a lot of shit going on." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And then all of a sudden, someone's asked me if I'm okay again. And I realize it's one of the first responders. And I think the first person there was a deputy. And it seemed like it took forever for um, the ambulance and everything else to come. Um, I know it seemed like it took at least 20 minutes. And so the cop's like, where did you come from? And I'm like, I came from that Lexus. He said, no, you didn't. The person in Lexus is dead.